I live just outside city limits, nestled on a 40-acre spread of land that's been in my family for generations. Our property includes a half-mile stretch of private road that leads from the main county road to our front gate. This road is clearly marked with private property, no trespassing signs posted every 100 feet, and yet somehow, that didn't stop the local HOA patrol from thinking they had the right to drive straight through it like they owned the place. Let me be clear, I am not part of the HOA. Never was. Never signed a single document tying my land to their rules. My neighbors across the road are part of the development that's governed by it, but my home is grandfathered in, excluded entirely from their jurisdiction. That didn't stop their so-called community compliance patrol from showing up one morning in a golf cart with flashing yellow lights, clipboards in hand, and self-importance radiating from their neon safety vests. It was a quiet Tuesday morning when I saw them coming up the road. Two men, maybe mid-40s, sunglasses on, acting like this was some sort of mission. I stepped out onto the porch and waited. When they pulled up, one of them, let's call him Officer Greg, even though he's not a real officer, stepped out and barked, "Sir, we're here to inspect your landscaping and property alignment." I blinked. "Excuse me?" "You've been reported for excessive tree growth near the HOA boundary," he said, tapping a form like he was writing me a ticket. I chuckled. "You do realize this is private land, right?" "I'm not in your HOA," Greg smirked. "Doesn't matter. This entire area falls under our visual inspection zone." That's when I pulled out my phone and started recording. "Let me be crystal clear," I said. "You are trespassing. This is not an HOA community." "This road, mine, that gate back there?" "Mine? You were never invited here." Greg and his partner exchanged a glance. "We're just doing our job, sir. You can file a complaint with the board." "Actually," I said, dialing the sheriff's non-emergency number, "I think I'll let the authorities explain how private property works." Within 20 minutes, a sheriff's deputy arrived, someone I knew from town. He listened to both sides, reviewed the footage from my security cameras, and looked visibly annoyed. "These two entered your private road without permission?" he asked. "Yes," I said. "Signs are posted. They're not law enforcement. They have zero jurisdiction here." The deputy turned to Greg and his clipboard-carrying sidekick. "Do you have a warrant, easement, or any legal documentation allowing you to enter this property?" Greg tried to bluff. "We're part of the HOA's compliance patrol. This is routine." "That's not what I asked," the deputy snapped. "Do you have legal access to this road?" Silence. 5 minutes later, both of them were being cited for trespassing. When they got defensive and refused to leave, the deputy didn't hesitate. They were cuffed on the spot and placed in the back of the patrol car. Greg was still arguing as the door closed on him. "You'll regret this. We have connections." "The HOA board." "This isn't HOA land," the deputy replied calmly. "And those signs back there, they aren't decorations." As the squad car pulled away, I let out a breath I didn't know I'd been holding. I wasn't just angry, I was tired. Tired of power-hungry people thinking they could bully their way into other people's lives because they had a clipboard and a cheap badge. But I wasn't done yet. That afternoon, I drove into town and filed a formal complaint against the HOA for harassment and unauthorized enforcement actions. My lawyer, who was also my cousin, helped me draft a cease and desist order to be sent to both the HOA board and the property management company backing them. It didn't stop there. A week later, I filed for a no trespass order that legally barred anyone affiliated with the HOA from setting foot on my property, including my private road. Violators would be arrested immediately. But the real twist. Turns out Greg and his buddy weren't even officially licensed to be acting in any regulatory role. They were volunteers, not background checked, not trained, and certainly not authorized to enforce anything beyond handing out pre-printed courtesy notices. That little discovery opened a legal can of worms. Several neighbors, who had been quietly dealing with harassment from the same patrol, joined in on a class action complaint. Within a few months, the HOA was hit with multiple lawsuits and was forced to dissolve the Community Compliance Patrol program entirely. Greg, he ended up with a criminal record, a court fine, and was banned from any HOA involvement in the county for the next 5 years. And me, I installed a new camera system, upgraded the gate, and added motion-triggered alarms just for good measure. No one, not even the mailman, gets through without being recorded. People in the neighborhood still talk about that day, the one where HOA Karen's wannabe officers learned the hard way that you can't enforce rules where you have no authority. Now, my private road stays private. Peace has returned, and every time I see someone slow down at the no trespassing sign, I just smile. Some boundaries, they're not just physical, they're legal, and they're non-negotiable.